Chelsea. I'm JK and I'm joined by the regular faces of Jack Donovan and Dom Hardman. And today we are joined by the team that does this.
Sportsman's dream. To be able to do it with this bunch of guys is just going to be even more amazing.
I play rugby on a Saturday at Chiltern Rugby Club for Surrey Chargers.
Surrey Chargers is a mixed ability team in Chobham.
We offer rugby to basically anybody that wouldn't normally be able to get involved with it.
This is about integration, it's about inclusion, it's about just being part of the life of a grassroots club.
We do exercise at the start to stretch.
Then we play the game of touch.
Practising our line-outs and our backs.
I love rugby.
My favourite part is probably the line-outs where I get lifted up. I enjoy that.
On the wing, so they pass the ball, quite fast.
It's just an interesting game in general, I think.
It's the team spirit.
For that moment that I'm doing the training or I'm playing the game, I'm not anxious, I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing.
At the end of the day, we just try to do our best.
This is a big sporting event that's going to be taking place in Cork, and people are going to, coming from literally all over the world to play in it.
It's not an everyday opportunity to be able to take part in something like that, so yeah, they should all be proud of themselves.
If you can imagine, we've got quite a few sort of challenges.
Of course, everything has financial cost, particularly with regard to the transport and the insurance, I think.
Lots of little donations would be absolutely fantastic.
It could be big business, it could be local small firms, it could be parents of players, anyone who's willing to put their hand in their pocket and help us, really.
If you love rugby.
If you're in a position to make a difference.
If you believe in us.
Come join us if you can. Thank you.
Now let's go win this thing.
Of course, we are met by the team of Surrey Chargers. So, gentlemen, how are we all today?
Yeah, good. All good, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
So, who have we got, and what positions in the team do you play, essentially?
Okay. I'm Lucas George. I play scrum half for the Surrey Chargers. And great to be here.
Nice. Daniel, do you want to talk about yourself?
I love rugby. I've been into rugby for quite a long time. I am a Harlequins fan, and Harlequins foundation got me into the Surrey Chargers. So I thought, okay, I've been dying to play, and so I finally got my chance. I got my chance to play because years ago I always used to say I want to play, and my mum said no, you can't, because she was worried about how I was going to get injured because I've had a liver transplant, and but of course I don't listen. You also you don't listen to your parents, and then of course but obviously I thanks to Harlequins and for the Surrey Chargers to welcome me into the club. So I'm actually quite glad, and it's quite a shame that I was actually pretty excited about this World Cup coming, but obviously not.
Yeah.
Not to be, but So yeah, that's how it is.
It'll come. And
yeah.
Daniel, what position do you play?
I play kind of like flanker, second row. I kind of play flanker. I play in the scrum. I'm the line lifted up in the line out, and because I have quite long arms and I'm quite light, I can jump quite high. And I got into rugby when I was in secondary school, and it wasn't always easy because of my difficulties. I would sometimes be kind of like put on the bench all the time, and basically I went to one club and they said to me, we just think you want to train, we're worried you're going to injured, I was very light at that point, and they were concerned that the way that I was playing would mean I'd get injured. But I wanted to play like everyone else, and I felt, and that's part of the reason why I found how I found thanks to Mike, who's also here. I went to a sports club that he was volunteering at to try and get people into me. He was asking me for a year or about interest. I had about 5 years off rugby because it got too physical. When I got to about 16, I wasn't really physical enough for it. But now I really enjoy it, and I have enjoyed it ever since. I mean, the coaches are amazing. They really take the time, and just being at a club that, you have some support and all the kind of information that they tell you. Like, I remember a coach told me, said to me, just do what you did at training, because I was being switched from a back to a forward, which was a bit worrying and and obviously I just got on and did well. And he said, you can do whatever you've just done. And yeah, good.
That's good. And obviously, don't worry about moving from the backs to the forwards. Given my rotundness and my size getting in through the years, I can guarantee I'll be playing in the forwards soon enough. As Dom likes to keep.
I was going to say, I think it's long overdue, to be honest, JK. But we'll park it there, mate. We'll park it there.
Exactly, and I'll get worried. Don't you worry. So Patrick, yourself, great to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too, and thanks for having me on and us on. Basically, yeah, I'm a sort of player of a certain age. I'm one of the dads. I'm a club player of several different clubs over the years, many years, and I kind of really was delighted to get involved with the guys at Chobham probably about 2 years ago, and Daniel, who you've just been talking to, goes to a sports evening at Walton, one of the local towns, and my lad Dan, another Daniel, one of 3 Dans in the team, Dan O, Dan B, and who's the other one? Dan
W.
Another Dan. We got 3 of them. Anyway, basically, he meets up, and through that link with the ECL Sports. The introduction to Chobham came, and we've been involved for 2 years now, really enjoying it, and it's a great bunch of coaches, and we've some really good lads there. I think it's been a real pleasure to see them kind of all really bonding and sort of getting more involved, getting to know each other, and improving their rugby skills.
Yeah, it definitely changes a lot within them, and we'll come on to that a bit later of the changes and how it's helped, etc. So that's great to hear already. So Harry, on to you. Tell us about yourself.
I've been involved in Chobham, which is the club that supports Surrey.
We won't hold that against you.
No.
Given myself and Jack have both played against Chobham for various teams.
Well, when you find out I was a referee as well for 15 years.
Probably me and Jack have probably crossed paths with you then.
I'm going to say, yeah.
Who did you two play for?
I'm an ex-Medway boy.
Oh, yeah.
I was at West Coombe Park a couple of years ago.
I had one of my worst experiences at West Coombe Park, to be fair.
So did I.
I got diverted there to referee they were Nat 3 game, and there'd been a big accident, and I was meant to be going down to Sevenoaks, got diverted to do the game, and there was meant to be a team of 3, and I turned up with my 2 teenage sons. And they turned around and said, well, they're going to have to run touch. It was it was against Hertford. Okay. And my youngest son disallowed the West Coombe Park winger scoring in the corner just before half time. And to be fair to West Coombe Park's captain, he sorted the situation out, but the coach was livid. And when I got back to the changing room, all my stuff had been nicked. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah, that wasn't to do with the incident. I think West Coombe Park had a bad break in that day, and a lot of stuff went missing. So memories. But Medway, because you had the old vicar from the prison, didn't you, who was the prop at Medway?
Yes. I can't remember his name, but yes.
Absolute God. I loved him. He really was a hero. Anyway, we're digressing. How do I get involved? Mike and my son played minis together, and as they moved up to from tag to contact, Mike's son unfortunately decided contact rugby wasn't for him and went his own way. But then when Mike came back to our club and said, I want to be involved and I've got this idea of mixed ability, I put my hand up and said, I'll help you. And I've been involved for 5 years nearly now, I think it is. So, and I'm director of rugby at Chobham. So it's sort of, the ethos of one club really does work, because we train on a Saturday morning before the seniors play. So they actually get to see these guys playing. And then some of them come and join and play and help out as well. So it's just a great one club attitude.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to Mr. Michael Regan.
So Harry's just kind of given me the perfect introduction there. But I mean, my own rugby career is I was going to say long and distinguished, but it's mostly long. I played most of my career at what's now Ealing Trailfinders, and moved kind of to the Chobham area. And as Harry said, our sons played with the same mini rugby group. My son is on the autism spectrum, so he was finding it a little bit too competitive, I think, by the time he decided to give up. And as Harry said, I didn't want to kind of not be involved so I think I read an article in Rugby World about the Bumbles, in Bradford, with the first disability team in England, and got in contact with Mark Goodwin, aka Gooders, who is kind of a leading light in the Bumbles, and also a director of IMAS for International Mixed Ability Sports, and said, look, if you're doing anything, in the southeast, please let me know, because I'd love to be involved. And he said, why don't you do something in the southeast? That's kind of how it started. And obviously Chobham was a natural choice, so I live like 5 minutes away from them. And I have to say, everyone there has been absolutely brilliant. They get the ethos and the idea behind it immediately. And we started off, Gooders and a couple of the Bumbles came down and did a presentation at the club, gave us really a lot of help in setting up. The RFU were really helpful as well. A guy called Mike Hawkes there kind of gave a lot of help. Also from the Harlequins Foundation, Matt Williams there has kind of really given us a push along the way too. But we started off with a match against the Letchworth Bravehearts, so the only other mixed ability team in the southeast, and against a social Chobham 15. And we took it from there. We started off with kind of training sessions every few weeks, taster sessions, and gradually moved on to kind of weekly training on a Saturday. And that was in 2016. So 4 years later, we're kind of we are where we are, which is brilliant. We've come on in such a way that as we've been invited to the Mixed Ability World Trophy in Cork, which is now going to be next year, of course. This would have been the week we were there, but not to worry. We will get there next year. It gives us another year to prepare, I suppose. From having a few people at the very early sessions, we've got probably around 25 people that turn up regularly, and we regularly get kind of 18 to 20 people at training, which is brilliant. And just to echo what Harry said, everyone who comes into contact with the Chargers gets it. At Chobham, it really fits into the ethos of one club and bring rugby to as many people as possible. But what we didn't want to do was kind of have like a a separate club where disabled people could go and play. It's very much about inclusion. It's about being part of the life of a grassroots club and getting people involved. And you know, we frequently say we're just another team. We're another team within the club, and you know, everyone accepts us like that. It's you know, and we're playing probably 7 or 8 matches a season now, and that's going to go up in preparation for next year. But you know, mainly against other mixed ability teams, we kind of have away trips to Walcott in their Bath, Gloucester, Worcester, and also against the Ealing Exiles, who are the social team at Ealing, and to date they're the only so you know able-bodied team that we've played against. But again, you know, it's competitive. We're not there to be you know a sop, if you like, to saying, oh yeah, we're providing a disabled facility, because that's absolutely not what we're about. It's proper rugby. It's maybe a little slower than say 3rd or 4th team rugby, but it's no less physical. And you know, I was really pleased to hear Dan and Lucas talking about how they, you know, they didn't. There was kind of objections put in their way because that people thought they might get hurt. Well, yeah, you know what, people might get hurt. It's rugby, but I think both the guys there have been on the end of some fairly crunching tackles, haven't you? That, you know, when we're playing. But at the end of the day, you just get up and you know, dust yourself down and get on with it. To see the you know, the team spirit and the ethos building as we've gone on over the past few years has been absolutely brilliant. It's and to be where we are, you know, we're on probably quite a long journey, but we've got a way to go. But the way it's going is just brilliant.
Yeah, and from what I see, obviously, as I mentioned just before we came on, obviously my eldest son, who's 9 now, is Downs, and back when he was born, it was a worry of mine at the time, and it will always have been a worry of mine. And I think every parent goes through the same as Lucas's and Daniel's parents. Is it going to be physical? Is it going to hurt them? Is it going to be ready to do that sort of thing? And I think, obviously, it was quite selfish of me at the time, but it was always there. Obviously, looking into it now and seeing the growth that the Sixers themselves and the Welsh teams and the Bumbles has kind of taken that stigma away. And it was less, I think, for me, less about are they going to get hurt. It was the training that they were going to receive wasn't going to be adequate enough for their ability to play. That makes sense? And I think what you guys are doing is outstanding, because I'm guessing from obviously from the coach's point of view, you've had to completely change your coaching style. It's got to completely
if you really take it down to a binary level, but it's good because it reminds you of the basics, and we have a much higher coach to player ratio, but you are still doing the same thing, but probably a little bit slower. But you realise very quickly you have to change your coaching methodology, if you like, to make sure that everybody in the group understands.
Which is great, because you're not going to see them. You take my coaching, for example, if we start messing about or we start talking too much, we're doing hill sprints, which obviously you're not going to see that with the Surrey Chargers, which is great. I'd hate to have to see that sort of thing, because it's not the way to do things, is it?
It's we treat them exactly the same as anybody else, and there's you know, training is as important. If you want to muck around, go home. You know you're there to be serious.
That's good, and I think there's a long way to go with the stigma of disabilities, and obviously I hate it quite a lot. What you got, and I'm guessing you guys are the same. You're hoping that mixed ability rugby being, and obviously they've got mixed ability football, or they've got mixed ability football, etc., is the start of stigma. And do you see yourselves trying to? Is that more prevalent of what your end goal is taking away the stigma of disabilities more than anything else from an external source. Obviously, playing rugby is competitive. You want to go in and win games, but externally, is it about taking away the stigma from everywhere else?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, it's also, you know, stigma, but also awkward. You know, people maybe don't know how to. They don't meet many disabled people who, if they're not disabled themselves, and it's just ending that awkwardness, you know, and just being, and as I say, just being another team, and just taking part, as I said.
Saying about.
Go on, Jack.
Oh, I was just going to say, saying about the taking part and everything, like the whole being part of a team. Obviously, it's not always about playing. It's not always about being on field, but it's around that social aspect. And for example, like my old man, he's been physically disabled majority of his life and everything, and he missed out on a rugby career because of a severe injury. And for him, as he got older, he got into sort of the cricket scene, he got into scoring, and he kept saying he loves the camaraderie of that because he's got into a team environment. It's not necessarily through playing. Imagine you guys see a lot of that and probably enjoy that off-field crack in some shape form as well.
I think there's some of the boys of our lads who are basically would probably find it really difficult. They went to an ordinary club, irrespective of the physical aspects. I think they'd find themselves, to be totally frank, not through anyone's fault, but they just would be shunned, or they would be on the outside. They wouldn't be included, and then I guess they would be seen as they'd be people who were not very good rugby players, and there wouldn't be the facility to give them a chance to become better players. So but in this team they find as you say there, JD, a friendly, inclusive environment where I think they're made to feel welcome.
Yeah, that's the exact kind of fear. Unfortunately, that's what I had. My experience with other rugby clubs is that I felt like they didn't really take their time with me. They didn't treat me the same. Like they wouldn't tackle me properly for my own safety. The coaches didn't really take their time with me. They didn't really put me on. So they wouldn't really give me the chance to get better by giving me time. Like they'd only give me 5 minutes, and the only way that I'd improve is by getting on. But they wouldn't even give me that. So it wasn't really a good environment. But luckily now, I'm in a better environment. So I can definitely see the difference. It's a huge difference, and I do feel like that even like people, you know, people who might watch the video, videos and stuff of people playing, you know, they think, oh, that's really good, you know, you play for the mixed ability and stuff. And I think I think it's obviously more than just kind of just on the pitch. It's off the pitch how people kind of treat you. Because like I've met people that I used to play rugby with, and I think they were shocked to see me, you know, playing, and I've told them about the mixed ability, and I think people who maybe didn't think I was that good at rugby, now I'm telling them that I'm playing rugby and stuff, and it's good just to see the difference. Yeah.
And obviously, Daniel, you've seen yourself a lot more sociable with that, because obviously I'm guessing, from your previous experiences, was it hard to kind of take the social aspect? Are you seeing yourself a lot more sociable since being with the Surrey Chargers and enjoying it a lot more outside of rugby?
Yeah, I have been social, but I struggle a bit with kind of like the kind of like thing like with like meeting up with people, and maybe the like, you know, when lads muck around and all that, I didn't really get that. Whereas now I can take a bit more of a joke. I have always been social, but it's kind of been, you know, at that kind of like aspect of not really feeling, you know, I didn't really get what they were saying and stuff, but now I do feel a lot more part of a team. I have always been sociable, and that can sometimes go against me sometimes, because if you're sociable, then people think, oh, why are you struggling in other aspects? Or do you see what I'm saying? I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean it in.
It's hard for people to understand sometimes, isn't it? And
yeah,
obviously, and until they can see it or spend some time getting to know you, then obviously they're not going to understand. Because obviously, for yourself, it might be hard to articulate it. But obviously, being around like-minded people and being around Harry and Patrick and Michael, and obviously with Lucas, I'm getting it. It's easier to articulate things now, and obviously, you can kind of show you who you are. A bit more about it.
Yeah, like I remember people didn't used to get it. Like when I used to go to rugby, I used in comparison to when I went to school, I'd be a lot more social at the rugby than I would be at school, and I wouldn't have all my I wouldn't be as anxious or kind of showing all my anxiety in front of them.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, I must be putting it on at school, or oh, you must be, and then that kind of I didn't really like that. Obviously, like with not getting a chance, I didn't really like that. Sorry, I'll move on now.
No, Daniel.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And obviously, just to put in perspective, Daniel, I had a similar situation when I was at school. So I suffered quite hard at the hands of people outside of rugby. But within rugby, I was completely different. So I get where you're coming from. One complete different person. You cross that line and you are a different person. You know what you're doing. And then outside, you're a different person again. And that's the bit that people are hard to take on board sometimes. But I fully understand that and I get it wholeheartedly.
100%. When you're in an education environment like school or anything like that, and you make friends, is a totally different thing to with rugby, because and being in a team, it's really different. And it's like even now, people don't get why I'm so into the sport. And I think when you're in a team, you make more friends in a team than you do in education wise, schools and everything. So I'm like Dan and everyone and all the coaches. It's like you build friendship. You build, like, it's kind of like family, and it's brilliant. And it's like the coach. We always have a laugh. We're not just with the players. The coaches do. And if you're in a normal club, you won't get that. You'll just like muck around with the players, and whereas the coaches will be like not really. They might muck around a little bit, but not as much as the likes of Mike and the rest of the coaches do now. But with our clubs,
You're doubling them in. They said they were very.
I was going to say, yeah.
They said it was all serious.
Them out.
You're doubling them in about the mucking around.
I mean, but one of the things, because we play on the field sort of 50-50 mix of able-bodied and people with learning difficulties and physical difficulties. You've basically got some of us who are facilitating to make sure that everybody has a good game. So the way you play the game, even if you don't have issues, even though we've all got our own issues of some sort, we're actually working together and coaching them as the game goes on. So I think, personally, they're getting a far greater value because they've got coaches on the field playing with them and telling them what they're doing, as opposed to 15 guys out there on their own, no idea what's going on.
100%. And I think from that, with the mixed side of things, it also helps with the integration of inclusion. It's not just about those with a physical or any other kind of disability. It is both integrating together, working together for a common goal. And I think that's something
I was going to say, I just found it. It's my club. I'm very proud, but the way the inclusivity was never even something which had to be dealt with, because it just happened, and everybody is one team. They come to the season's awards, the senior awards. It's not, oh, let's get some mixed ability. They are part of the senior group, and they are all one.
Exactly.
As Mike said, they're just one of the teams in the senior setup.
And that's great to see. So obviously, Lucas, quick question for you. Being obviously scrum half, You said previously, obviously, we won't hold that against you because we know how much of a pain in the backside scrum half can be. You said you were shy before. Have you seen yourself get more of a voice now? Are you a lot more confident in talking? Because obviously at 9, you are the playmaker. You're the one who pulls the strings and tells the 10 what to do. Do you see yourself a lot more confident?
Yeah, I definitely build a little bit of confidence. Sometimes I am a little bit of I don't normally talk as much, but I'm gradually getting there. I'm kind of like finding my peak, and it's like I'm as a scrum half, I do like to dart around every single time, and I get being told I'm not Danny Kerr, but there we go.
No, you're a nice guy, Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like being the boss of like kind of like the a little bit of the forwards and a little bit of the backs is quite good, and that's your role, and you've got to keep that role. You've got to keep working on the pitch and not let your team down. You need to play your role. You need to tell them what to do. So yeah, if you get that right, then that's how you win games.
Yeah, 100%.
I have a nice loud voice all the time.
Obviously, Daniel playing a proper position in the second row. Do you listen to him? Oh, he's gone.
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lucas does sometimes tell us what to do. I do sometimes listen to him. Yeah, he tells us where, like, I remember, like, he told me that he wanted me to go one way. I remember I set him up for a try before. Do you remember, Lucas?
Yeah, God, and that was that. Wasn't that like the first? Was that the first game that we played?
No, that wasn't the first game, but it was at Harlequins, and I set you up. I ran at the player for you.
Yeah.
I passed it, and then you ran and scored.
I scored. Yeah, that was actually quite a good move. I just thought this better work. So I normally say to Dan, like, go on the wing. Let me try to just figure out what I need to do, and then like I'll pass it to you, and then you pass it to me. So we definitely have it tries come and go with us, but it definitely works between me and Dan. It's like oh yeah, okay, right, one of us is off.
Yeah,
that try was amazing.
Yeah, I remember you practicing with me before the game. I remember you saying, you stand here and you pass it to me and stuff. Yeah. So yeah. I'd say that I definitely take the ball off of people. So I play that kind of like flanker role where I kind of like I get past the ball, and I'm quite good at scoring tries now. I've scored quite a few tries. I'm quite good at avoiding the contact. I'm quite good at that.
He's got a nickname, hasn't he?
What's your nickname, Dad?
What's the nickname?
Ghost, because the opposition they can't get to me or see me because I'm quite quick. So
sign him up.
Sign him up. Big contract on the way.
Exactly. So I think one of the first times us as a team experienced playing against a mixed ability team was at Swansea. Was it what mistaken, Tom?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I quite enjoyed, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys, is when they do score, when they do get it right, it's the joy, the happiness, and the camaraderie really shows at that point.
Yeah.
Do you see them, obviously, from when they first start playing and getting in the field, etc., when they start and score that first try, that's a clip as to when they really start to enjoy it and they really think, yeah, I'm absolutely loving this? Is that
when it comes together, you can see that, you know, because they've practiced it, they've gone through the drills, and it works. It just all clicks into exactly the same as any other team. When a drill works, you know that's it. It's been worth it.
Absolutely, and I'd echo that. And I think probably when we started off, the guys who had a bit more experience were kind of, got a bit of red mist down sometimes, and would kind of try and take on the opposition on their own sort of thing. But I think one thing that has just become really apparent in recent months and the past year is that we are working together really, really, really well. And the hard work is paying off. And as the guys have said, the drills are coming together, the tries are being scored, and we are competitive, but at the end of the day, we want to win the games, but that's not why we're there, if you like. It is about being a family, being part of a team. And competing against other clubs, we've had some great away trips, haven't we, guys? And
I especially love going to Ealing. That was brilliant. I do love going away. So I think Ealing and Gloucester was another one that I liked. We won't go into.
We'll go on tour stays on, and we will have fines if you do talk about tour.
These are away games, not tour.
Sorry to Gloucester. That's
if you're away for 2 hours, it's a tour, isn't it?
Exactly. You have to get a coach. It's a tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all we find. But no, I think it's great. And obviously, I think the World Cup or the World Games. You want to talk a bit more about that, how it is and how it's set up, and what teams are involved, etc.
Well, there are teams from pretty much all over the world, I think. I mean, the home nations, France, Spain, Italy, Argentina, Belgium. So, yeah, all over. I think this one that was supposed to be happening this week has... there's been a real growth in mixed ability rugby over the past couple of years. So I think they originally had 16 teams for the last ones, and this one was going to be 24 teams, and it was oversubscribed as well. So just to show how much it's grown, but there is a cup for the winner. There are pools. There's quarterfinals and a plate and a bowl competition as well. But it is about just going for the experience as well, and just competing meeting new people, making new friends, learning about the camaraderie of rugby as well. And there is a trophy for the spirit of rugby as well, which is of equal importance as the winning one. So the team that shows the best attitude and the best spirit will get that. It's going to be a great showcase when it happens, and hopefully it will kind of raise the profile of mixed ability rugby even more, which is what we all want to see. And I think it's kind of any kind of team at the moment is slightly unusual in that there aren't that many teams around, but I think we'd all love to see that most community-minded clubs having a mixed ability team. For it not to be unusual, for anyone to go to a club and get a game. Because, we're also probably a perfect team for people who haven't played for a while, who are maybe in their 40s and 50s, who gave up playing a long time ago and just want to get back into it.
Definitely.
If you can get around a rugby field, you're welcome. And
you can see a lot of the vets teams, because most clubs have vets teams.
Yeah.
A lot of those vets teams, because obviously they won't have full teams generally.
No.
They just made those vets teams into mixed ability teams.
Yeah.
For me, that seems a logical choice. It gets, obviously, 35, 40, 50 plus players back into the game, lacing up their boots. But it also gives an opportunity to those who don't live in the close enough. So like myself, I live in just outside from Wakefield Huddersfield. My nearest club is Trafford. My son to go play would go all the way, which is at least an hour's trek, hour and a half there and back.
Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, I agree with you a lot. Most community teams quite easily could. Is it easy to set up, or is there some work in the background?
It's something that takes a bit of time. I mean, I think one of the problems we had when we started up was that people, just from what Lucas and Dan have said, there are some parents and carers that are worried about people getting hurt. But and we started off with only a few people, and it has built up slowly. But I think that's not untypical of other mixed ability teams. It does take a while to build up because you need to get that confidence of the players and of their parents that that actually it's okay, and they might get hurt, but generally not badly. It's just part of rugby. But once we get people, I think anyone that joins us tends to stay. So we've got people that have been with us from the beginning, people that have joined us along the way. But I don't think there's anyone who's come for a session or two and said, "Oh, I don't really like it," and then just when people come, they can see what it's about and they do want to stay. And also, we've got we'll vouch for it. We've got quite a few dads back on the pitch as well, or Dan, in your dad's case, we've got pitch for the first time, which is which is great.
Yeah.
And I think the ability, the flexibility you have, although as Mike says, you kind of we're wanting to build it as real as possible, as much kind of contact building in. There is the option to have a yellow bib, have a contactless environment where you can mix contact and non-contact players, and that's good for people who are coming in at the bottom who've maybe some of the lads who couldn't take a heavy hit, or it would be quite upsetting for them to get a proper tackle, but they might get towards that. And at the other end, the old farts like dads like myself who couldn't just take a tackle any longer, let alone make one. Never could do that.
But as Patrick says, it's also one of the unique things for us is it gives us the opportunity to give teenagers under 17s the ability to play with us because they can wear a bib and be on the pitch with adults at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any other sport or facet of rugby where we've got from 13 to 65-year-olds on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that is a great thing for the future because we all know. I've seen social media. I've come off a lot of the social media. Something I'm still on. I still see the teens of today and what they say about those with certain disabilities, and it's not good. But that's the sort of thing that kind of changes that perception and that and changes the outside world. You can get those 16, 17-year-olds who previously were derogatory towards other people. Get them on a pitch with them in that kind of environment. It doesn't just change everything; it changes and perceptions of people's way they treat other people, essentially.
Yeah, I think obviously also also I think it's good for some of the other members that we can help. We can help kind of like some people who might struggle a bit themselves, like we might be able to help them or be able to help them like where to go or what to do, help them along, as well as the coaching, be able to do it on our own, kind of understand that it's kind of not just about playing, it's kind of like allowing people to play who might not be who wouldn't automatically already be able to play or know where to stand, and as long as they know where to go and what to do, as long as you help with the clear instructions, just amazing that people can that everyone kind of helps each other. Like you might like on our team we have some people who might struggle to run or whatever, but they are as strong as an ox. So then there are some people who, like me, who isn't particularly strong, very good at running and stuff, isn't as strong. So you have all these different aspects on the team that kind of like is just amazing, like any other team. And like you might think just because someone isn't good at that, they're not going to be good at that. But it's just amazing how we've all came together, and how even in the training sessions we've all kind of like worked off of each other, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because obviously you said about everyone coming together there, and I know that Mike, you mentioned about the community aspect earlier, and Lucas, I think you said that you got into Surrey Chargers through the Harlequins Foundation.
Yeah.
Produced through that. Is that a link that you guys worked to create, or is that something that somebody approached you with? Because I think it would be fantastic to see more and more top flight clubs actually getting behind that as a community program, because I see all clubs on their own at the moment setting up like walking rugby. You guys have this fantastic mixed ability team, and it would be great to see whether that could actually be a growing link between foundation and clubs.
I've got to say, I think we were very lucky with the character, a guy called Matt Williams at Harlequins Foundation, who was behind it, and he was just starting out at the same time as we were, and he was supported us so well, brought the coaching side to us, and also from the RFU, because we were so early on adopters. The RFU gave us great Mike Hawks, isn't it? Mikey Hawks.
Mike Hawks, yeah.
In the early days, gave us great support. But Harlequins have been fantastic. In my years involved in rugby, Harlequins had a reputation for taking advantage of any situation, whereas I'll give them full credit for what they've done. And for the guys, we've played at the Stoop, we've been up at the Premiership Championship up at Twickenham. We've been very, very lucky.
Nice. I think so. Before I get, obviously, I know Jack's. We do a thing called scenarios when we come to the end. Before that happens, Daniel and Lucas, talking to, if you were to say to anybody who's thinking about it, who may be a bit afraid of what's to come, what kind of advice would you give to them to give rugby a go, even in a mixed ability session, etc.? What would you say to those people?
Dan, you can go first on this one.
Oh, I thought I was going to let you go first. Okay.
Okay. All right. I would say look. I would say if you have any sort of like worries that you're gonna get injured, is that as they said, Harry said or Pat said that we got a bib that you can wear, and you don't have to be tackled. You can just be tapped, but despite the fact it is under 17s, and you have to be 18 for a tackle. Anyway, just come and have a go. Don't be like worried about getting hurt. Just enjoy yourselves and be a part of our team. It's going to be an absolute brilliant, because every single type of rugby is growing. We are growing as a mixed ability team. It's like you've got the women's sevens. It's all growing, and hopefully in the future we can get more and more mixed ability teams coming together to create friendships and everything like that. So we need more players.
Lucas, absolutely loved that. That was awesome.
I love that, yeah.
What about yourself? What would you say to any budding rugby players?
Okay, yeah. What I'd say is kind of like, I'd say, as Lucas said, I'd kind of like I'd maybe start off, if you're not confident, start off with bibs. Maybe see what's happening. Get involved, see what's happening with kind of like the other people in the team, and as you get more confident, you might want to become kind of like into contact, because if you see what other people are doing and you're you're kind of you know, with the concerns you have, you can always speak to the coaches. They'll always help you. And I would say, kind of watch videos about mixed ability and how other people have overcame it, and kind of understand that it's the same danger from if you played any other type of rugby. It's exactly the same. There is no difference, and that's what I found out from kind of like even wheelchair rugby. People think, oh, how can they play wheelchair rugby? And that's one of the most violent types of rugby there is.
Lethal.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say was basically, I'd say kind of like working, you know, as your confidence goes, you can get into contact. But if you don't want to play contact, it's fine. You can just play touch, and you know that's always there as a backup. That's the whole idea. And I would say just have a go. I would say it's been an amazing experience for me personally. I feel like that I've kind of grown when I'm playing rugby. I'm just in my own kind of world, and I would say that you just have to throw yourself in. It can be scary. As I said, I was a bit sceptical about coming back to rugby, but Mike, the other, and obviously Matt from Harlequins told me about it, and then I came into it because I knew about the backing of Harlequins, and I knew about and Mike, and obviously I trusted Mike a lot, and I think that helped. So I'd say, like, if coaches, if like people that like Mike came into these sort of like these sports things for people with learning difficulties, if they come into these kind of things, people might be interested. Once they trust that person, they might then, if they see a familiar face, they might then want to be involved.
100%. And I would ask the coaches and the parents what they thought, but I think you two have shown the passion.
Summed up nicely.
Totally, yeah.
I don't even need
Perfect.
to. And before we get to into Jack and Dom's thing, I've got to say these two lads have really epitomised the hard work that you three have done, and you've done a wonderful job in my view. And I think Lucas and Daniel are really showing the passion. That's all down to, one, themselves and really growing in themselves, but two, the support that you guys are giving. And these two are a testament to that. So well done, and I'd off my hat to all five of you. So
fantastic.
Jack and Dom, go on. Scenarios. I don't get involved in these, so.
So yeah, normally we have Neil. He's working tonight, so can't be with us. But just before we jump on to the substitute scenario king, Jack, what we've been doing with all our guests. What we've been doing with all of our guests is we put them on the spot and make them pick a Dream 15. So what we'll do tonight, between the five of you, so 3 or 4 players each, see if you can put together a Dream 15.
I've got an idea. So Harry, if you go for the front row, you pick your top 3 front row.
Are we talking mixed ability dream team, or? Because so my mixed ability dream team would be Matt Williams from Quins at tight head. He played Newport Dragons, so I think he's probably the top end.
One held the Welsh against.
Yeah. Hooker would be Aaron, who was with us in the early days, who always trained in his Superman outfit or his some other superhero outfit. And then the other loose head prop would be our forwards coach, Ian White, Flapper, because he is an absolute nightmare. And there's nothing nice about him on the pitch at all. There's just nothing nice about him, full stop. But he is one of the greatest coaches ever. That's my front row.
So we'll go second row to flanker, Daniel. Who would you second row and one of your flankers?
Okay, so is this mixed ability or just in general?
Anybody you want. You
can pick yourself as well.
You can pick
yeah. Oh, I can pick
Although
myself.
you'd only be the second person to pick himself out of 30 episodes. So
Okay.
back yourself.
At least he wouldn't be the first.
Okay. So as our mixed ability second row, I would probably pick. So I'm trying to think now. I'd pick from our team. I would pick Ethan. Ethan, he's as I said earlier, very strong player. He is really strong, and I would pick him as second row for that fact. Who else would I pick? I would pick Pat, who's there. Yeah, I'd pick Pat as another second row because he's very. Yeah. I'd pick you. Yeah. You're a good second rower, and I would also. So as a flanker, I would pick. Well, we have two Toms, so I'd pick one of the Welsh Toms as one of the flankers. And as the other flanker, sorry, I'm trying to think now. I'd pick the other Tom, Hairy Tom.
Well, Welsh Tom and Hairy Tom on the flanks. Perfect.
I reckon we've got to give 8, 9, and 10 to Lucas.
I was going to say so, yeah.
Okay. Can it be either mixed ability or anything else?
Yes.
Anything.
Anything. Okay. Even in a rugby legend.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Love rugby legend.
Yeah. Okay.
Flattered if you say me.
Okay. Number 8. Lawrence Delalio.
Oh, I love you.
Oh, yes.
Lawrence Delalio. Yes.
9, me.
Back yourself. Go on the 9.
10, I'm going to go Mike.
No.
Thank you.
Yes.
Like that.
Well done, Mike.
Yeah, definitely.
8, 9, and 10 would be Lawrence Delalio, yourself, and Mike.
Yeah.
Strong 3. I like that. So we'll go Patrick. You've got the joys of centre, and one of the wingers.
Okay. I would put, you'd have to go for Big Carl Sharkey, who's one of the big Chobham players, very good player. And he takes them on, doesn't he?
Oh, yes.
He'd be number 12, I think.
He's played over 100 times for the first team, so
Has he?
and so he's been there and he's done it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think my 13 would be Henry Slade. Carl would keep Henry out on number 13. And sorry, and that was. Did you want one winger?
One winger.
Yeah, one winger.
Right. Okay. I think. Oh, just. I'm normally. Yeah. Have we taken? No, I've run out of ideas. Sorry, there.
We've got to go for William.
William.
Yeah.
William, of course, yeah. Will, yeah, good, yeah. Will, one of our lads, one of the boys. Yeah.
Who is so fast? He's phenomenal.
How could I forget? Yeah.
Good. I think I'll leave Mike with another winger and a fullback. But I think as all the others have given 3 more, I think JK, you're on the same wavelength. Pick a coach. Got to pick a coach as well.
Ooh, coach. Now, I think a coach has to be a rugby legend. I think that would.
I was going to say, Mike, you're playing 10 as well, so you can't pick yourself as a coach.
No.
You got a winger, a fullback, and a coach.
I'd say one of the wingers I'd say would be Jack, who couldn't make it. He was going to come this evening, couldn't make it. He's someone again who really, really come on in the few months he's been with us, and really good at making suggestions as well. Fullback. Okay, I'm going to go back into my past and pick someone really solid at the back. I'm going to say JPR Williams. Because he was actually one of the first players that I remember, and kind of made me fall in love with rugby. I remember seeing him play at London Well. That was kind of, a great experience for me. A rugby legend at coach. I'm trying to think, who could we have at coach?
I can think of one, definitely.
Go on then, help me out, Lucas.
Clive Woodward.
Clive Woodward? Yeah.
That's a shout. What a shout.
He'd probably love it.
Yeah, he was well, an excellent coach, and he was a pretty good player, wasn't he?
Yeah. Not very successful in the 2005 Lions. Not very successful there. I don't like it. No, that's the one reason why I don't like him.
I was just about to say Clive Woodward come down to Surrey Chargers, but Lucas, you just shut him down there.
Not good enough for Lucas.
Yeah, no. Yeah, a player that I
hired and fired in the same day.
Exactly.
Yeah, a player that I really like Tom Curry. I think he's a brilliant player, one of my favourites. I look up to the way that he plays. It's just the way that he plays kind of in attack rather than defence. I think that new style of flanker, that kind of athletic kind of flanker.
He's got a good engine on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was difficult not picking myself, but I didn't pick myself, luckily.
Lucas loved it. Lucas, who's your favourite player before we end?
I think nowadays I would say I think Alex John Brandt nowadays for Harlequins, and for England it's it's Johnny May actually. For England it's Johnny May. I love Johnny May. And back in the
celebrations.
Yeah, and my other England player is Johnny Wilkinson. I love him.
How he's not got a knighthood yet, I will never know. Man needs a knighthood, but no.
Exactly. So.
No, guys, it has been an honour and an absolute privilege having you all on tonight. The heart and soul that you all put into this team.
JK, I hope you haven't forgot about Scenario Donovan's big debut. Come on. This is his big break.
JK, our social sack, I believe that's a fine for yourself, bud.
Yeah, I'll sort it out on the next beers.
So, guys, obviously we always have Neil Williamson, who is aka Scenario Neil. He has been working tonight, although he may actually be recovering from a pre-season socially distant session that I ran last night. But we've got a couple of scenarios for you tonight, and obviously we'll ask each of you. The first one is one that Neil always asks, so I'll ask that in honour of himself, which is, we're going to go from the Surrey Chargers today and Chobham Rugby. Lockdown, obviously, if you had to self-isolate for 2 weeks, you can't leave the house. You've got food being delivered. You can't even go outside for exercise at all. And you are stuck in the house with one player from Surrey Chargers or Chobham. Which player would make it a living hell?
So we'll go with the coaching staff first. So, Harry, who would make it a living hell?
Oh, it's an easy one for me. Michael's son, Dan. Daniel will argue with me for any reason, just to argue. And he will pull me apart. If I make a mistake or drop a ball, he humiliates me. So it has to be Dan.
I like him.
I can call him a name now if you like.
I love him dearly, but he's a good example of a guy who's developed so much through the game. It's been really heartwarming. But yeah, no, Dan would be my nightmare.
Excellent. Patrick, your living hell.
Oh, goodness me.
You can't pick your son. You cannot pick your son.
Can't pick my son. No. I think it would be, and this is meant with a lot of love, not disparaging, but I think Harry Tom.
Oh, Harry Tom's gone from the dream team to this.
I think I wouldn't get a word in edgeways.
Michael, I know it's your team and etc., but you got to pick your living hell.
Oh God, maybe one or two of the ones that I would have picked have already been picked, but I would probably say another of our coaches, Kai Fisher, on the basis that he does kind of tend to argue with you and pick holes in things. So I'm sorry, Kai, if you see this.
I'm hoping. So on to the two that I'm looking forward to. Excellent. And finally, Lucas, who's your choice?
I'm going Flapper.
Yes, straight up, there was no hesitation.
Straight in there. Why Flapper?
We have a bit of a laugh, but he kind of does annoy me. It's like literally like pushing, it's like me around and everything. It's like, oh man, stop doing that.
Excellent. Not even a hesitation like that. Donovan, do you have another one?
I have got another one. So one that I've been asking a lot of players and guests that we've had is, because often there's been a few who have been at the end of their career and stuff, who've said, if you could go back to your 16-year-old self, what bit of advice would you give to yourself? I'm actually going to change that question up for you guys today. Because we're involved in mixed ability, imagine you're sat in a coffee shop and you're the big celebs of the town, whatever, everyone knows the Surrey Chargers. You get somebody just buys a coffee, buys whatever drink they want, and they sit down in front of you. They look you in the eyes and say, I'm thinking about joining a rugby club. What's your one bit of advice for me? So I think we'll go in reverse order to last time.
But Lucas,
what would be your bit of advice on somebody who wants to join?
This is very, very tough. Not really thought about this one. I think I would say my advice would be just come and just find someone that you think that you can join. You can join our club. We really don't even mind. But just like find someone, just find a local place.
Yeah.
That a local rugby club, and see if you can join, and that's how you can get involved. Just the simple thing is to ask. That's the one simple thing, and that would be my advice: is to ask.
Love it,
bro.
Daniel.
So is this about kind of like if you want to get in when you're 16 into rugby, did you say?
Doesn't matter if they're 16 or 60, if they want to get involved, what's your bit of advice?
Okay, so my advice, I've kind of said this earlier, but I'd say kind of just throw yourself in, just kind of get yourself kind of involved in the kind of social aspect, and then after you've got yourself involved in the social aspect, then as well as that, then you'll get yourself familiar with everyone, and then you can kind of get more familiar with the rugby. I'd say just get yourself started, I'd say.
Love that.
Who's that? Mike, I think.
Yeah. I would say just go along, echo what the other guys have said, go along to your local club. There is a place for you, there's so many playing opportunities now, whether or senior rugby, touch rugby, or any of those things, women or girls rugby, juniors, minis, volunteering, coaching, refereeing. Go along, get involved, and just if you ever got something out of rugby, you can put something back in. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Patrick?
Yeah, I'd say unless you're really, really, really good and ambitious, super ambitious, I'd go to a local friendly community club, ideally where you know somebody who can introduce you a bit.
Nice. Very nice.
And Harry?
Endorsing what everybody said, just go along. because I think most clubs will welcome you with open arms, and you'll find a way of life where you're going to meet people wherever you go in the world. So just turn up, pitch up, and you'll be welcome.
I love what you've just said there. A way of life. It is a complete family environment when you get involved in it.
It is a way of life, and my wife is a rugby widow, and she has to put up with my way of life. Now,
I think we've all got those, but
yeah, exactly. Can I do it now, Dom? Are we okay?
Yeah, no, you've got the green light. You're in charge this week, so it's fine.
I'm just making sure there was nothing else because I know you I'll say it again. Absolute honour and privilege having you guys on. Out of all the guests I've had on, this has been one that's dearest to my heart. Probably my favourite. So I am obviously honoured to have you all on. Lucas, keep up the good work. Keep fighting on and doing what you're doing in the club and shouting the club's name out and being as and maintain that passion you've got for not just Surrey Chargers but for rugby as a whole. Really show that there is no limits and there's no barriers, and really keep going on that as you go through your rugby careers, because I'll be keeping an eye on you, and if you don't, I'll come down and give you a big. I've got my coaching qualification. I'm happy to do that.
Please, anybody's welcome. Come down and come. Obviously we don't play many games, but come down and watch us train on Saturday morning, and everybody's always welcome.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Patrick, great to have you on board. Obviously, as a father, it's great to see, and Harry and Mike, absolute legends, and keep doing it. That's all I think. I'll say, just keep going, and I've got a very big respect for you guys and what you're doing.
Thank you.
Great, yeah. Thank you very much, and look forward to meeting you all when we can get some rugby on the go.
Exactly. Yeah. First beers are on you for putting yourself in the dream team.
Cheers.
I'm the social secretary of our sevens team. It's been said now. Thanks very much, guys, and talk to you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.